On April 7, Russia remembers the submariners who lost their lives. The disappearance of the submarine S-117, SHCH-117, in December 1952 is considered the most mysterious event in the history of the Russian submarine fleet. To this day, it was not possible to identify neither the exact place of the shipwreck nor its cause. During the investigation, various versions were put forward, up to and including the hijacking of the submarine to the United States. About the last voyage of Shchuka and what could have happened to her. The last radiogram. By the beginning of the 1950s, S-117, by Navy standards, was already a very old ship. The boat came to the Pacific in 1934. 2 years later, the crew performed a record autonomous voyage of 40 days, twice exceeding the normative time of stay at sea. Shchuka had no chance to participate in the Great Patriotic War. Her only combat voyage was during the war with Japan in August 1945, but she did not meet any enemy ships. At the same time, despite its considerable age, in the early 1950s the boat performed rather an intensive service. In the year of the disaster, the crew of the C-117 spent 72 days at sea and made 200 dives. In mid-December 1952, the 90th Submarine Brigade, which included the S-117, conducted exercises in the Sea of Okhotsk. Shchuka played the role of reconnaissance and left Soviet harbor earlier than other ships in the morning of December 14. The last radiogram from the boat ashore was received on the night of December 15. The commander reported that the second diesel engine, which had failed a few hours earlier, had started up. The Navy raised the alarm a day later, after the boat failed to respond to several requests from the shore-based control center. Several destroyers and rescue ships also took part in the salvage operation, and the coast was scoured by border guards and soldiers of the army units. However, neither the submarine nor even the slightest hint of a disaster, like traces of diesel fuel, were found. By the end of December 1952, the operation was terminated. The disappearance without a trace. One of the main versions of Shchuka's wreckage is a collision with the surface vessel or civil vessel. In particular, the Gornozavodsk motor vessel, which was located in the vicinity of the wreck, was placed under suspicion. The crew categorically denied everything. The ship hull was examined in the dock and no traces of collision were found. Another version is a malfunction on board. According to investigators, shortly before the exercise, the submarine returned from repairs and the commander Vasily Krasnikov asked the command not to put S-117 into the sea. The officer was not completely confident in the boat's readiness, and his gut was not wrong. A few hours after leaving the base, one of the diesel engines of the Shchuka broke down, which was repaired later. On the first day of the exercise, shore-based observation posts detected a floating anchor mine near Kolmsk. However, no one saw or heard a powerful explosion. In addition, in this case at least some debris or objects from the submarine would have remained on the surface, but there was nothing of this kind. The human factor, errors in control during diving and maneuvering, was also considered. However, according to the command, the commander Vasily Krasnikov and the other officers of the Shchuka had a sufficient level of training. In 1952, the crew successfully completed 2 course tasks and executed torpedo firing. The Americans were not seen. The most exotic version, which was also considered by the Commission, was a deliberate taking away of the boat to USA or Japan. It should be said that at that time the relations between the USSR and the USA were difficult. There was a war on the Korean Peninsula, and incidents in the sea and in the sky between the Soviet and American militaries took place regularly. Nevertheless, according to intelligence information, the activity of the U.S. fleet during the exercise in the Sea of Okhotsk was not registered, and as for the political and moral condition of the crew, it was high. The C-117 catastrophe took the lives of 52 sailors. After examining the results of the investigation, Stalin limited himself to symbolic reprisals. The commander of the 7th Navy, Vice Admiral Kolostyakov, was reprimanded. The commander and deputy commander of the 90th Submarine Brigade were removed from their positions. In the West, during the Cold War, there were similar disasters. The French diesel submarine Minerve, which disappeared in January 1968, has not yet been found. The submarine was undergoing a deep-sea test, and the cause of its demise has never been determined. Argentina's San Juan was the last submarine to disappear at sea without a trace in November 2017, during a crossing from Ushuaia Naval Base to Mar del Plata. The search for her continues. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Give it a thumbs up. Tell us interesting facts you know about the topic of this video. See you in new videos.